Bad Batch Season 2 just dropped its next episode. Yes, I know they come out weekly on Wednesday. This means the clones of Clone Force 99 are a quarter of the way through their latest adventures. With the fourth episode out, there is much to discuss. Warning, there will be spoilers ahead for the Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 4. If you haven't seen it yet, proceed with caution. This will be the only warning. Before I move on, a quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. Now, let's move on. The latest episode of The Bad Batch, titled Faster, is a change of pace from the third episode. Well, it's actually a change of pace from all three previous episodes. Not that that's a bad thing. Sometimes a change of pace is needed. But in this case, yeah, it's different. The premise is that Sid has a new mission for Wrecker, Tech, and Omega, while Hunter and Echo are on their way on another mission. Sid needs the trio of clones to escort her as her bodyguards off-world. They are to watch her back as she watches the outcome of a riot race, which she has a droid piloting. One thing leads to another, some tricky moves from a couple of the other pilots, and boom, her racer gets blown apart. Twice. This puts Sid in a predicament where she has to pay up on her bets, but she doesn't have the money. The benefactor of the opposing racers instead takes Sid until either the debt can be repaid or Sid's escorts can find a way to win the next race. Tech volunteers to race for Sid's freedom. Ultimately, he wins. Did you really think he wouldn't? In the end, the opposing owner of the racing team tells the clones to be careful, that their loyalty won't be reciprocated. All through the episode, Malegi talks about how crooked Sid actually is. By the way, that's the name of the owner of the other racers. But by the end of the episode, we are meant to wonder, what's he talking about? How bad is Sid really? What was her past like? That's the episode in a nutshell, and to be honest, I'm conflicted. I try not to be negative about anything Star Wars, but this time I'm going to let loose, so be careful. Please forgive me. But I don't like the episode. I felt like it was more filler. I'm sure it'll eventually lead to a bigger story, but I'm not at all invested in Sid as a character. And anytime she's on screen, I keep picturing a diner waitress who's been smoking cigarettes for far too long. Her character doesn't add any depth to the show, and to have a Trandoshan who is weak in stature and doesn't even sound Trandoshan is kind of a bummer. Sometimes I wonder why they didn't just put Hondo Ohnaka into this role instead. It would be a great way to show how he fell from his former glory as a feared pirate to one of mischief and get-rich-quick schemes, as we saw in Star Wars Rebels. Hondo would have also brought in a familiar face to connect with the fandom, or maybe just connect with me. I like Hondo. He is interesting. Sid is not. I was not left caring what Sid had done to bring about so much ado about nothing. The drama between her and Malegi was mild, even though they tried to make it tense. I just wanted to get out of this arc and really hoped for a cutscene to show what Hunter and Echo were up to. But it didn't happen. Aside from Sid and her arc, the race scenes were just okay. It was pod racing with weapons, trying to make the stakes seem higher than in The Phantom Menace, but it didn't really click with me. But as bad as I make it seem, Star Wars Resistance still wears the crown for the worst of the recent animated Star Wars shows. But I still wouldn't mind if they dumped the Sid character. But now that they are going to give her a backstory, it looks like we'll get even more of her. Ugh. Okay, that's enough trashing the episode, or maybe it isn't, I don't know. One theme of the show which I actually liked was one of loyalty. It kind of shows the vulnerable state of the Clone Force 99. During the Clone Wars, they were loyal to the Republic. Once the Republic was gone and the Empire took over, they remained loyal to one another, only find comfort in their own little group. When they met Sid, she convinced them to be loyal to her. And it makes it seem that all it takes is an authoritative figure to command loyalty from the Bad Batch. That's slightly understandable. They are going through a little bit of PTSD, I'm sure. They were made to follow orders and remain loyal to their commanders and Republic hierarchy. Now, they find a new commander in a diner waitress. I mean, a Trandoshan with a big personality, of course. Made to feel like they have no other option, they remain loyal to her. In turn, they get credits to survive on and a hideout to lay low in. Still, would have been better if it was Hondo. Just saying. But he may have sold them out to get rich quick anyway. I really need to do an entire video on that guy. Yeah, he only deserves to be trusted as long as he's in your view, but he's a really deep character. In all, I give this episode about a 5. It's average at best. The premise for talking Wrecker, Tech, and Omega as protection was never really realized. They didn't protect her at all, and even allowed Miligi, whatever his name is, to take Sid into his custody. Omega should understand that there are times to fight, especially for those created for war, and protecting a friend or hired friend is one of those times. In all, as I said before, the episode was filler. It especially felt weak after coming off the last episode dealing with Cody and Crosshair. Great episode. We don't necessarily need to see that story constantly, but that level of writing is welcome. I'm just hoping this episode leads to something bigger, where Sid actually betrays the clones and they leave her. That would be nice. In the trailers for this season, we see Captain Rex recruiting the Bad Batch for a mission. I picture them accepting the mission, and once said mission is accomplished, Sid saying something like she wants her cut of their profit because they still owe her. For what? I honestly don't remember. That's how memorable she is. But the Bad Batch will just say, okay, and give in to her demands, thus prolonging our tenure with the out-of-place Trandoshan. Heck, I think even Bosk would have been a better option. At least we already know some of his backstory and how devious and cunning he is. Bosk would have also shown them a few tricks to be successful guns for hire, without showing the clones too much. I know I bashed this episode pretty hard, but it seems this show has been going the direction of filler, followed by 2 great episodes, followed by filler. But being the beginning of the season, I wish they would have saved some of the filler for closer to the middle of the season. I'm keeping this video shorter. I don't want to stay in a negative space. I'm sorry. I'm a positive person, and you all don't deserve this very often. So, before I go, hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up or thumbs down if I was too over the top. But that's all I have for today. Until next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.
3 of your lieutenants have already sworn allegiance to me.
Traitors. Scum! I'm so proud. But so betrayed.